Hello humans and future AI overlords. I'm using Safari. I'm looking at Google's NotebookLM. Now this came out last year. It was something they announced at Google I/O called Project Tailwind. And it's really a pretty amazing application. It's still, kind of in that experimental phase. It's still being kind of rolled out. And I played around with it a little bit. I even had a wonderful opportunity and talked with some of the developers who were just absolutely amazing. But the focus on it being a information to insight tool is really important. I mean, to me, that is, the value of note-taking is to capture information and then make it something that you can actually organize, and keep up to sync with. And what I like about this is that this totally changes the note-taking experience. So for me, it's a huge paradigm shift. So this is what it looked like originally, and I did a couple YouTube videos at my first introduction to it, and then just kind of getting started. It was a learning experience and a very different experience. So it is an experiment product by some folks. It was linked into the Google Labs. Let's just go take a look at that as well. So it was through the labs.google was where I kind of got connected to it after the Google I/O presentation. And I do capture a lot of notes to varying degrees, personally for work, but it's hard to leverage them. It's hard to sometimes make use of them. But in this wonderful new world of AI, I think there's a lot of possibilities. So yeah, I love this new labs.google interface, BART extensions, instrument playground. There's just really some amazing stuff in here. The search powered generative AI, which is super amazing. Here's the NotebookLM link. Music FX is great, and I've definitely used that. That's the music that I use for my little intro. So this is just kind of a great location to kind of see all these really cool experiments that Google is doing. And they have such a great history with that. But anyway, they announced this last year, and basically this is the new interface. So it's a pretty big difference from the older interface. But here's the notebooklm.google site. So, what I love about this is it brainstorming, using your notes to, so this whole concept of taking notes, creating them, capturing them, organizing them, brainstorming with them, thinking about them, making them work, learning from them. Sometimes I capture notes and I feel like it's static information from a given point, but I may reference it later, but sadly, not a lot and maybe not often. But so to turn your note-taking and content into this incredibly dynamic new way of working and learning and brainstorming and creating, it's totally exciting. This is what I find. Collaborate with a virtual research assistant. So you can upload stuff from Google Docs. You can upload PDFs, and if they're not overly complicated with lots of graphics and formatting, they can be used. But sometimes PDF formats can be a problem. You can copy text, it's kind of amazing that you get to basically put inside of this grounded, personalized AI information you want to collaborate on. So that's extremely, extremely powerful. And this is that whole point of going from information to insight. So, the interface is changed. We'll definitely go look at that. But that whole idea of looking at content, capturing notes, asking questions about your writing, and then getting, kind of the assistant, the research assistant capability of it to kind of help you along the way. I mean, sounds great. I mean, to turn your notes into just something really meaningful. So get to your first draft faster. When you've created a set of notes based on your sources, you can use NotebookLM to transfer them into an outline, a blog post, a business plan. So that is really amazing, is that once you've actually captured notes from a project, let's say you've got, you're working on a project, you've got a lot of, reference information that you captured and put in your notebook. You've got meeting notes and things like that. You've got, ideas, that you captured in there. Imagine using that together to create content that you need to kind of move your project forward. So that, that's just amazing. So yeah, they talk about this being your personal data. It's not used to train NotebookLM, so any private or sensitive information you have in your sources will stay private unless you choose to share it. So you can share your notebook with others. And then there was this Verge quote that I was reading: Google's AI-powered note-taking app is the messy beginning of something great. Now, I think they did an excellent, that's an excellent quote, because when I first started playing with NotebookLM, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. This is really interesting. I wouldn't pay for this at this point, but this is the messy beginning of something great. Absolutely on point. And now it looks like that messy beginning is starting to turn into something, really, really significant. So anyway, so here is welcome to NotebookLM. And this is where you go to notebooklm.google.com. It is limited to, you've got to be like over 18 and a US, and it's based in the US, so it is limited. But in this, you now have access to a personalized AI collaborator grounded in the information you trust, designed to help you do your best thinking. So this is where you would click the new notebook to create your first notebook, add your data source, could be Google Docs, upload a PDF or just copy text, ask NotebookLM questions about your source to help explain, summarize, brainstorm, and more. And then click on your sources to auto-generate summary and key topics, which is kind of amazing. So here is that, where you click on a new notebook, and I'm just gonna call this AI is my co-pilot. So you can see what creating a new notebook is like. And then basically in here, this is where you add sources. So this is where you can add stuff from Google Drive. You can grab PDFs and you can copy text. So it really depends on what you want to grab in here and stuff like that and add to it. And then this is the area where you add notes. So this is where you add notes about your project. And then of course, this is where you can start doing your prompts and asking questions. And of course, like all good AI tools, they have kind of a little bit of a message here. Notebook may still give inaccurate responses, so you may want to confirm any facts independently. Let's see here. So open chat. So it looks like it looks like it can open and close. A little bit of shifting there, not too much. Anyway, and then here in the interface too, you've got the ability to go to support, and they've got information on help. You can ask questions. There's content about the last update from December 8th. So the source limit, each notebook can have up to 20 sources. So 20 text sources, or the collection of either text or PDF or Google Docs, 20 sources limit. So sources can include up to 200,000 words. So I know that has, the word count has been kind of weird. I've had to break up documents into multiple different sources because the word count was kind of a problem. And that was where the usability was kind of an issue. But anyway, you can write individual notes. You've got your note board. You can save chat responses as notes. The citations, I hear the citations are great, and the interaction with the citations. So this looks, I know they've got some updates around suggested actions, critique, summarize. So they've got some great stuff that they're doing, and more stuff to come. But I'm going to actually go back here because they've got some excellent examples. So down here, example notebooks. So they've got 4 example notebooks. And this, I'm going to go to the first one here, introduction. So this introduction to NotebookLM is a notebook designed to help you learn about NotebookLM. And I love when companies do this, when they use their tool to teach how to use their tool, which is great. So basically this is that notes area, and they have a note in here. So this is where you can expand that note, read it. It's basically telling you kind of like how to navigate and how to use it and stuff like that. I highly recommend you come in here. So basically, this note is saying, hey, all the sources here that are checked, if I were to start, you see it says 5 sources down here. If I were to start asking a question down here, doing a prompt, it would use all 5 of these sources, but I could uncheck them. See, now it goes to 4 sources. So let's say if I only wanted to use like 1 or 2 or 3 or all, you could limit it, and then there are some sample prompts here that it's sourced right away. But I'm going to go into this getting started with NotebookLM source. And one of the things it does with your source is it provides a summary of the data from the source you can kind of scroll through and look at. And then it gives you key topics, so you can click on that, and those key topics can then jump into, so it's right now it's thinking, it actually created, discuss and use notes, and it created, and it's got 10 citations here, and you can copy this, but basically by using the summary, the high-level summary, or clicking on the key topics, it can extract the key information here and simplify it so that you can use it. So I think that's really kind of amazing that it has that capability. I'm gonna go ahead, and when you hit the back arrow, it backs you out. But if you're inside of a source, you just click, so you've got the notes options here about this notebook. But if I click the X, it brings me back here, and this is where I was looking about this notebook, and then this is about making it personal and stuff like that. And then there's like, why can't I write a note? This is a view-only public notebook. That's what's different about this. All the ones that you create, you'll have the ability to write notes. So I can't add a note to this. This is view-only. But anyway, the getting started with NotebookLM, I just kind of like, looked at this just to kind of understand the source information, how it's structured. It's structured like most documentation and notes that you capture, getting the most out of NotebookLM. This was a great kind of read. I mean, I basically went through and just kind of read each of these, and it was a really great way to kind of get a good understanding of the sources and stuff like that. But you can also just ask it questions, So it's, that's the, kind of power of this, is that I kind of was gone old school and just reading all the individual notes. But then they've got some other examples. So they've got another example called invention of the light bulb. So once again, you've got these are read-only, view-only notebooks. But this has got like invention of the light bulb, and this was like a saved response. So these were queries that were saved into the notes. But you can see here, like if you were doing let's see here, what were the contributing factors to the widespread adoption of the incandescent light bulb in various applications? So I like how it does these great reference prompts for you so that you can just, kind of get up and running. And then from here, these kinds of notes and queries that you're asking, these are things that you can pin to your note board and stuff like that, but this is a view-only note. And then you can see, here's the 2 citations. So if I go to citation 1, it takes me directly into the citation in the source, so you could see where did it get that information. So I mean, like, that's just, I mean, that is amazing, and it's cool, like, you write citations for research papers, in Word you can link those, but it's all a manual process. This research citation process is happening in the background. As long as the information you have is structured and readable, the AI can generally do a good job of handling it. But I just really, I'm so excited about really diving into this tool and really trying it out. But they have several examples here that you can kind of navigate through. But I definitely recommend that you start with looking at this introduction to NotebookLM, and then just picking each of the data sources to kind of understand, like the different notebook features. This is the source guide, the summarization, the key topics, sharing notebooks. You can use the share icon in the top right in order to share notebooks. There are limitations, 50 other individual users. They've got to be added either at Gmail or a part of your EDU, so you can share people within domains. Notebook limitations, so each notebook can have 20 sources and 1,000 notes. That's a lot of notes, but 20 sources does feel like a little bit of a limit. And then, it's got a little bit more clarity around citation formatting, and stuff like that. But it's really pretty interesting. So it's saying Notebook is still in the early testing phase. They're not charging for access at this time. And then they do have the ability to provide feedback. So there's a link to a feedback form, and they also have a Discord server. And it's a fairly active community that you can, kind of go, interact with them. I did early on when I was kind of playing with the tool initially, but I also feel like one big important point is that your personal data is not used to train NotebookLM. So any private or sensitive information you have in your sources will stay private, and it's unless you share your sources with other collaborators. You're sharing your notebook content with other people. So otherwise it's private to you, and it's not training the AI language models, which is great. So I really think that this is going to be a really excellent way to explore. Some of the things I'm looking at playing around with was I was putting in like terms of conditions information, like here in Microsoft Copilot. So I put in the Copilot AI experience terms. Let's actually click on it and see what it says. So the Copilot AI experiences terms. So it gives me like, it looks like a good summary. And then it's got like key topics, online services, custom GPT, access restrictions, content. So these are those really lengthy terms and conditions that we get, and I wanted to actually kind of put some of those inside of this NotebookLM and see if it could help me kind of understand the T's and C's a little bit better. So this will be interesting to kind of explore. I was playing around with dumping a bunch of prompts into here and seeing if I could explore different AI prompts, and so right now I'm just doing some pretty basic things with the tool. I was actually gathering some fact sheets about AI that I wanted to kind of wrap my brain around a little bit. So you create a notebook around a topic, a subject matter, research, and then from there you just add your sources to it. So I'm definitely planning on using AI as my Copilot notebook as a place where I can begin to like grab a lot of the notes that I have captured in various places, move them into here, and see if I can actually turn them into a little bit more actionable tools and get some help from the AI research tool to help me maybe generate a little more research. Because the kinds of things that you could do inside this tool is a lot of the kind of prompting that you typically kind of can do within chatbots in general, like suggesting new phrasing, expanding and polishing text, or making this passage more polite, or suggesting other metaphors in some explanation you're doing, or having it critique your content and suggest related ideas, or verify the sources, in the content that you provided. So I feel like it's got so many capabilities. I think really a lot tied to a lot of people doing more research or education and things like that, or work-related projects. But I think it's something that could be applied in a more general level, but part of it is just kind of using it, wrapping your head around the paradigm, and turning your notes from just information to insights. I mean, that is really like the killer feature in here. Turning your static notes that you have into actionable information that helps you overall, or when you need to find information in your notes that you took like a year ago, finding that citation, that kind of information. So it'll be interesting to see how this tool evolves. I'm definitely going to play with it a lot more. It's definitely matured, over the past 6 months since I really last looked at it, and it's very impressive. But yeah, I'll definitely kind of check back with you, let you know how it actually is behaving in the actual work I'm doing. But I'm pretty excited about exploring it. Getting notes in there, exploring some of its features, and seeing if it really can help me take my notes and make them more actionable, useful, insightful. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. Have a great one. See you in the next video.